What is up, guys? It is Sunday the 28th of August and this is your Tech News Roundup. On Wednesday, Honor announced the new Honor 8, which is basically a Huawei P9, except it's glass now instead of metal, and it only costs £350 or 400 euros. Huawei own Honor, so it's not surprising to see that they made basically the same phone in a new body, but it does look really great and it has some genuinely good specs as well. It has a 5.2-inch 1080p display, which is perfectly reasonable, especially considering the price point, but where it gets interesting is when you dig inside. It has a high silicon Kirin 950, which, though it won't be tearing up benchmarks, is actually a pretty decent CPU, and it runs Huawei's Emotion 4.1, which runs Android 6.0 Marshmallow. Much like the P9 counterpart, it has dual 12-megapixel cameras on the back. One is monochrome and one is full color, with the idea of making those sort of in-depth photographs, as well as an 8-megapixel front-facing camera for all your selfie needs. It has 4GB of memory and 32GB of storage, but if 32 isn't good enough for you, it has a microSD slot as well as a nano SIM slot, so you're all set up. Personally, I think it's a great phone at an amazing price, and it only goes to show how much better phones are getting, and the competitiveness within the Android landscape means we're seeing higher and higher quality phones at lower and lower prices, which can only benefit everyone. In other news, a computer dubbed as the first Apple computer, a prototype version of the Apple I, has sold on auction for $815,000. Looking at the thing, you could tell it wasn't a final version. It looked like a pre-production, sort of like one of the ones they built to just see if it would work and how it would work and how well it would work. So it's not fully functional either, which means that it didn't quite sell for as much as people thought it might. It was expected to go for up to $1 million, but A, it doesn't work, and B, it's a prototype, so it's one of the first, which makes it extremely unique. Only 200 of the original Apple I computers were ever made, and how many of them still work is probably in like the low teens, if that, making them extremely valuable as they were built back in 1976. And finally, I think it's safe to say that No Man's Sky is one of the most disappointing games of the year, if not of the decade, just in terms of the way it was hyped and the way it actually turned out. And that means Steam are now actually offering refunds to anyone who purchased the game. Now, Steam usually offers refunds if you play under 2 hours of a game, but No Man's Sky was so different to expectations that they've just gotten rid of that rule and anyone can claim a refund for the game, because it just wasn't what was advertised. No Man's Sky isn't a bad game, it's just a bit repetitive and not really what was shown off at E3, but I think with some patches and some good work, it can be fixed. But the reputation's already tarnished. The $60 price tag is definitely a bit steep for what feels like a mostly empty game more than anything else. But hey, people were excited, they pre-ordered it and realised it wasn't quite what they had paid for. So at least if you're one of the lucky few, you can go get a refund right now. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to hit like. If you didn't, I'm not quite sure why you're still here. However, what you can do is click up here to see the previous video, which was last week's Tech News Roundup. And if that's not for you either, you can click up here to see a random video I haven't picked yet. Could be absolutely anything. Just as a quick side note, I am off to Georgia on Friday, which means I'm recording a bunch of videos in advance, just so there is content. I've been really busy lately. However, this giveaway ended on Thursday. Yep, like 3 days ago as you're watching this. So I'm gonna pick a winner like right now. I'm gonna tell you the name as soon as it's picked. Hang on, let me Right, one prize left with 531 possible entries. Let's draw a winner. Dun dun dun. This is completely random because Gleam does it and I don't. So let's see here. It is no, I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that, actually, I'll be honest with you. Because just know it's the first initial and the surname is here. They're from Nepal. Congratulations to you. I'll be sending this out before I go to Georgia because you don't want to wait 2 extra weeks, I'm sure. So we'll send this out as soon as possible. Subscribe to see more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys next time.